We've been speaking a lot about the importance of customer lifetime value under, and leading into what you're speaking about there. How important is that to you, that when you get that customer, that you go on that journey with them that lasts forever? And what kind of specific things might we be able to do in our business as a physical therapy company to help increase the lifetime value and understand the importance of the CLV?
Well, there's two economic metrics. So you've nailed one of them. Customer acquisition cost is very important. And then lifetime value is everything. And what I've learned in my own companies, whether they be greeting card companies, commercial kitchens, cat DNA companies, is I've learned to change the metric. I say to all my CEOs, listen 66% of the time and talk 33. It's usually the other way around for most, CEOs and entrepreneurs. They want to talk a lot. Listen. You have to find out what it is that those customers want, because you're going to find in aggregate, let's say you talk to one customer, then 10, then 100. You're going to find out that 2/3 of the time there's one thing they all want, and that's gold to you when you mine that information. Maybe it's a change in price point, maybe it's a change in service point, maybe it's a change in something that they want that you're not giving them. To get that data, you need to listen. And so we've really changed in our companies how we listen. We provide in every case, how is our service? What can we do better for you? And what you're going to find is about 16% of the people that get that questionnaire respond. And the most valuable responses are the ones where they're not happy. What did we do wrong? In fact, in some of my companies, I ask to see that data each month, because I want to know what we're not doing right. I mean, it's easy to feel happy and warm and fuzzy about the great things you're doing, but when a customer spends energy to write a whole paragraph of why they're not happy, you need to listen. You need to pivot. You need to fix. Because that customer, if you fix their problem, they stay a customer, they'll stay with you forever, out of the respect of the fact that you listen to them. And that's so valuable. A customer for life is gold, it's platinum, it's diamonds, it's the whole deal. And it's so hard to acquire them, because if a customer leaves you know where they're going? To a competitor. They're going to a competitor. You educated the customer, you lost them, and now they're going into a new relationship because you didn't perform. I go out of my mind when that happens. I go crazy when that happens.
What's the biggest shift right now? So we talked about the online, the digital pivot. What else? What's the other shift that you think that small business owners need to make? It could be mentally, mindset, operationally. What's the shifts that you're telling your guys to make?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this is a cost. But when they go to your website and it's first generation, it's terrible. You have to invest in upgrading to much better photography, much better videos, a much slicker interface. It's going to cost you some money, but you got to do it, because most people, before they engage with you, check your website out. You want to have testimonials. You want to have photography of the images of where they're going to go to be serviced or whatever. You want a very slick look. You need to upgrade the photography so that it's very clear in 4K or at least 1080p on the videos. We've invested millions of dollars in this, just millions. And we standardized on DocuSign in our businesses. We standardized on Zoom. We standardized on Adobe. We standardized on Wix.com. We used all these. What we did is we went and bought licenses to reduce our costs to upgrade our websites. You have to look. That's your first point of interaction. You don't want it to look like a discount shoe store. It's got to be really. If you're not investing there, you're not in business. That's the way I look at it, because the returns are really, really high. And that's been going on now for about 2 years. You got to upgrade the site. It's got to be slick.
Can you help? We talk a lot about the acquisition of customers and creating a marketing system that would be repeatable. And often when I speak to business owners who nearly are always stuck and would like to get to the next level, one of their reservations about investing in marketing is that they have good word of mouth. So they have a good reputation. And often what I find is that people running a business don't always have a clear understanding of the difference between something that's repeatable, that they are actively pursuing to acquire a customer, versus relying upon a good reputation, which is great. And we all want that and need it, but can be passive. And I think sometimes business owners, particularly physical therapists, anybody that's in that kind of service-based healthcare, we like to rely a little bit too much on reputation. And it's often the expense of what could be creating some kind of repeatable, robust, I can acquire a customer. And I've long since believed from watching the show and various things that one of the most important aspects is that I can prove to you that I can acquire a customer at will through 2, 3, 4 different methods, strategies, Google, Facebook, newspapers, whatever it would be, that would make my company much more appealing to somebody like you.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment. You can't use word of mouth only to build a franchise. It doesn't work. Even though your best customers are great advocates for you, you need to actually acquire new customers that often will do due diligence online or check you out or even talk to people that might be in your own geographic region. You need to do both. You need to have a really robust digital marketing strategy to acquire new customers. You want those customer acquisition costs to be below the lifetime value. That's how you can continue to invest in it. It's very measurable now, but you need to maintain customer service in the top quartile so that customers that are working with you speak highly of you after a new customer is acquired digitally. It's a two-pronged approach. You have to invest from one side of the funnel for new customers, and you have to invest to make sure the customers you have are always being serviced in the top quartile. That is the digital model. You have to do both. Most people, I find, most business owners, even ones that get up to 100 million in sales, outsource their digital marketing to providers that really understand the algorithms. It's so hard, to understand the changes going on in Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter, or even if you go to print, because I have some companies doing direct mail again, an old archaic, barbaric thing that's working now. They're getting up to 2% response rates. So there's all kinds of different ways to do it. Most people, even at a $50, $100 million run rate, don't internalize that. They find providers that are really, really good at it, that are constantly investing and understanding the algos. And the algos are changing so fast these days. I mean, I spend millions of dollars each week on Facebook alone. So we aggregate our purchases, but we hire lots and lots of people to help us optimize our campaigns, which are primarily geo-lock campaigns around stores we're shutting down in retail. I mean, we're just doing millions of dollars of this. So I think those listening understand what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, very much. There's a great comment there that I'd love to go back to. The thing that we're looking for is we acquire a customer, as long as it's underneath the customer lifetime value, that's what we should be shooting for with everything that we're doing with marketing and investing. Is that what you're telling your business owners?
Yes, exactly. I mean, this is data we look at weekly. We're trying to figure out every week, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Because so much of our business has changed direct to consumer, and we're trying to optimize. And even now we do sessions like the one we're having today, where we take the CEO of Love Pop Greeting Cards, for example, and he shares what he learned last quarter in maybe spending 10 or 20 million on digital marketing to maybe get 50, 60 million in sales that year. I mean, that's the whole idea. It's sort of, we have a portfolio and we share like we're doing today, but the market's moving so quickly. But I know one thing for sure, this is going to continue. Direct to consumer is going to continue to be the driving metric for where value is created in American business, and customer service will never fall out of favor.
Moving gears a little, it could be in your personal life or in business, what would be non-negotiable standards that you've got where you think that I absolutely, whether it's, habits, whatever it is that you think, I cannot violate these standards in my life or my business, and that's kind of where you are today because of that?
You can't, today in business, you have to be compliant with the rules of your sector. You can't break the law in terms of back practices that are gray. You can't do any of that stuff because we have this massive cancel culture going on. You got to be very, very careful. Obviously, taking care of your employees, protecting them. As your business grows, human resource issues emerge. You got to be like, there's just so many landmines out there. And you as a practitioner have to understand you can't get caught in that stuff or you're finished. But mostly it goes back to what I said earlier. You got to tell the truth. And it's really hard to do that. I mean, even when dealing with suppliers or banks or whatever, over and over again, you will see the outcome. In every single case that I've seen someone try and maneuver with a strategy of dishonesty, within 36 months, they're finished because they get caught. That's what I think.
I believe you with Richard Branson this weekend. You're on
well, I can't say that. He'd be really pissed.
Okay, I won't ask. Here's what I would ask then. How have you got to the point where on a Sunday afternoon, despite everything that you've got going on and the wealth that you've got and the lifestyle that you've got, how do you still get to the point of wanting to talk to somebody like me today? As in, what can we learn, or us, what can we learn from you about not falling asleep on a comfort blanket of success?
Yeah. I had a rather remarkable experience in my life, and I hope all of you go through this. My first exit when I was very young. We sold the learning company to Mattel for $4.2 billion. There were 10 of us. It was a massive liquidity event, massive. And, it's one of the classic situations. I grew up in a middle-class family. I was always struggling for cash and whatever else. But then the next morning, and this is what I believe about entrepreneurship, it's not the greed of money, it's the passion of what you're doing. And then one day you wake up, and Branson would say the same thing. He never watched, how he got rich. He just woke up one day and said, shit, I'm rich. That happened to me too. I remember the exact day it happened. And then I took 3 years off, and my mission was to see and live on every single beach in the world. I wanted to say, I worked so hard. Now I want to spend 3 years traveling to in Australia, New Zealand, Cyprus, Vietnam, Cambodia. And after about 2 years that I was getting really bored. I mean, it's supposed to be boring. Yeah, really good beaches, but really boring. And I want to get back in the game. And now I work harder today than I've ever worked in my life. I support entrepreneurship, as we're doing here today, in many sectors. I enjoy learning because I listen. Every time I give a keynote like this, it's in often a different sector that I wasn't extremely exposed to. So I did a little digging into your sector before I came here today to understand more about it. Do that online, and I have a staff that does it for me. And I enjoy the work. And when I leave here, yeah, I'm on Branson's Island, and I'm going to go down the beach. But I don't need to live there. I just need to have a drink there. and I'll tell you, just that when we end this, I'm going to turn the camera and show you this place. You're not going to believe it. This is what you should achieve in your life, not because of the greed of money, out of personal freedom. That's what it's about. To be able to do this. Here I am working with you, and I'm proud to do it. But I also want to take a moment, put one of those umbrellas in a coconut, and sit on the beach with my toes in the water and say, I deserve this because I worked like hell. And I did. Every dime I have, I made myself. And I'm very proud of that. I take no apologies for it. I'm a capitalist, and I worked like hell for it. And I serviced millions of customers, and I created something of value. And I think I want the same for all of you. I am very happy to do this. If it gets one other entrepreneur on their journey to be successful, because it's not about the greed of money. Think of all the customers you service. Think of all the people you employ. Think about how you grew the business and you helped the economy, and you did it because you wanted to. That's the whole idea, because you want to do it. I get up at 5 a.m. and I go to work, and I want to do it. And I'd like to leave on that note. I think that's important. I think that's what all of you should do. And you have to pivot and jive and miss those missiles and deal with all the crap that's going to come at you, but there's no better life.
Last question. Is it really true that you made your kids fly economy because they didn't have any money?
Yeah, I did. I tell you, the story is very, it's very simple. When I graduated, my mother said to me a poem. She said, the dead bird under the nest never learned how to fly. And I said, what the hell does that mean? And she said, look, I came here for the graduation, but I want you to know I am never going to write you another check. I paid from birth to last day of college, and now you're on your own. And I said, well, that sucks because I don't have a job. And she said, who cares? You'll have to go figure it out. She hated entitlement. She hated entitlement. And so when I had that big score when we sold the learning company, by that time, I had met enough rich kids to realize de-risking someone's life is a curse. It's a curse to them. They don't worry about their future. They don't do anything. And so what I did is I formed this generational skipping trust for my kids where, it takes care of them from birth to last day of college. And they were only 4 and 7 years old at that time in Boston. And I remember I went back home, and so it takes care till they graduate, where they can go as long as they want, right up to they can be a PhD or whatever, but then it cuts them off. They're done. That's all they're going to get. But if they have children, even out of wedlock, it takes care of those kids. I'll be long gone by then. But the whole point is it takes care of that journey, that expensive journey to when you have to launch the dead bird idea. And then I remember when my son was in high school in Boston, doing very poorly. I mean, just not applying himself. And he said to me one day, Dad, listen, can you walk me through the trust? And I said, sure, Trevor. Listen, if Mom and I get killed on the way to the movie tonight, you don't have to worry. You're going to get to finish high school because it doesn't look like you have to worry about college. Your marks are terrible. And he said, then what happens? I said, well, I'm dead and you have no money. He said, what? I said, no, the trust ends at the end of school. He said, you must be kidding me. I said, no. And I said to him, the dead bird under the nest never learns how to fly. And he said, that sucks. You must be kidding me. And I said, no, it doesn't suck. You have a full freight on the way to whatever you're going to do. I'm paying the whole deal. You want to go to college, you want to get whatever you want to do, it's full freight. You don't have to worry about a thing. But when it's over, you're on your own. Now, I don't know if it was that moment when he faced the abyss and the uncertainty, the darkness that he realized he was in. But today, he graduated as an electrical engineer. He's working at Tesla in San Francisco. He's making a ton of money. And I haven't given him a dime since he graduated. I rest my case, Your Honor. My mother was right. No entitlement. Now, look, if he runs into some medical issue or something, the trust will take care of that. But the point is, there ain't no free ride. And I'm sorry. And so, when we used to go visit my stepfather in Geneva, that story about the airline thing is, we'd get on in Boston Logan, we'd fly directly to Geneva. And he would always come. I'd say, any family member wants to come to visit George, let's go. It's on me. And then after he's been to Switzerland a zillion times. And one day he said to me, Dad, why is it every time we get on this plane, you take a right and go sit up in first class and they roll a roast beef by you and there's a big movie screen and I'm back in row 68D. And I said, Trevor, you don't have any money.
Read it in the book. Amazing.
Thanks for watching this video. And if you found it helpful, and if you now find yourself thinking, I wonder what else this person can help me with, head over to paulgough.com/books, where you can find my best-selling books, which will show you how to add more profit to your practice. Or send an email to paul@paulgough.com to ask about how we can help you accelerate the growth and profitability of your clinic. And by the way, if you know anybody who would find this helpful, please share this video out. Thanks so much.